Despite Rockstar's efforts to the contrary, heists remain the #1 money-making method in GTA Online, and no matter how you look at it, if you want to make lots of money in a really short amount of time, you just cannot go wrong with playing a heist. However, not all heists are worth grinding, and my guide today is focused on solo heists, as most of you in my audience are solo grinders of this game, and right now, we have 6 of these in the game, including the new Court Center heist. By the way, I know Rockstar's nerfs absolutely suck, but you can actually play with an alt character to get the weekly bonus for the same heist twice in a row now. That little trick is very doable with every heist, except for the Court Center, which does require you to buy a mansion on your second account, along with the new art studio, plus the payouts drop off of a cliff once you lose that weekly 4x bonus multiplier. So really, we only have 5 solo heists that are worth grinding: Cayo Perico, Cluckin Bell, Dr. Dre, KnoWay Out, and Oscar Guzman, and in today's video, I will give you a full A to Z rundown of everything you need to know about these heists, and this is going to be a full fat combo guide for all the top solo heists. Not a quick CliffsNotes version, so it's going to be a big boy, which is why I've included the timestamps for every heist, and you can skip to whichever one you want to watch in the order that you want. The Dr. Dre contract is possibly the most fun way to make $1 million in GTA Online, and if done correctly, it doesn't take much longer than Cayo Perico, while also paying you more money for your effort. But first, you'll need to complete at least one run of the Dr. Dre heist if you've never played it before. This will remove the meetup and data recovery missions from the mandatory mission lineup, and it will also allow you to skip a bunch of cutscenes, which will save us a ton of time during our speedrun. Also, make sure you're in an invite-only lobby with the agency set as your spawn point, and if you haven't already, purchase the personal quarters by spending $275,000. This will eliminate all travel time between missions, as you can simply teleport back to your agency by switching into a new invite-only session. Finally, for the last bit of prep work here, make sure you have a fast vehicle on hand stored inside of your agency garage. For most, this will probably be an Oppressor Mark II, which is the easiest vehicle to maneuver in an urban setting, and it's also necessary if you want to do the marina investigation as fast as possible. The next best option is, of course, a Sparrow helicopter, and it's a good secondary vehicle. You can actually park this on the roof of your agency, and so whenever you leave the building, simply select the roof exit at the front desk, and that'll be waiting for you on the helipad. In missions that don't allow you to use conventional weaponized vehicles, you can still use the Vigilante, or if you don't have that, you can also use one of my personal favorites, the Hakuchou Drag, which doesn't have the firepower of the Vigilante, but it's actually quite a bit faster to get from point A to point B. With all that said, let's get into the Dr. Dre contract itself, and we're gonna start with the Nightlife Leak, which has 3 missions, 2 setups, and a finale. For the nightclub mission, Franklin will ask you to visit a nightclub and steal their data drive for the CCTV footage. This is easy enough with an Oppressor Mark II. You just fly there, shoot up a bunch of bad guys, head inside, grab the drive, and head out. But you can make it a whole lot easier for yourself by using a suppressed gun and only shooting these 4 guards in the parking area if you're having trouble. Then, once inside, shoot these guys, clamber onto the staircase that's directly on your right as you enter the room, and this way, you'll skip the rest of the room and won't have to fight everyone. Then, you can grab the data drive, shoot this one guy on your way out, and fly away on your Oppressor or Sparrow. Mission complete, and it shouldn't take more than 3 to 4 minutes. Then, for the Marina mission, Franklin will ask you to find a green Lampadati Toro at the Puerto del Sol Marina Pier, but you don't have to get in the boat to retrieve the GPS data. In fact, you can just fly directly to the ocean and find the yacht, and it's always going to be in one of these 2 locations here. But wait, there's an even faster way to get to the yacht, and for this, we're going to use the agency's SUV fast travel and head straight to LSIA. From LSIA, we can summon our Oppressor Mark II and then fly straight towards the yacht. So that's right, you don't have to find the Toro at all, you don't even have to fly a helicopter super far. You can just head straight towards one of the 2 predetermined spawn points. By using the SUV fast travel trick, we've eliminated 70% of our travel distance as well. Also, this is where having an Oppressor Mark II really comes in handy, because you can literally fly to the yacht, land on it, take the photo, walk out, and fly away. First, as you approach the yacht, just make sure you're flying low enough, because the air defenses will activate pretty fast. Flying low gives you just enough time to land on the deck before you get shot down. Then head straight onto the bridge and open the main cabin door. But don't leave just yet, because we also need to disable those air defenses so we can fly away on our Oppressor when we're done. Once the air defenses are disabled, head back to the lower level, start clearing a path through the guards. I always like to check this bar area first, then if I don't see the Dr. Dre flyer there next to the laptop, I start checking the bedrooms. As soon as you have the photo, send it to Amani and fly away from the yacht on your Oppressor. If you don't have an Oppressor, you can use this free helicopter that spawns on the yacht. Since we've disabled the air defenses, we can just get inside and escape. Now, for the final part of the Nightlife Leak, you'll have to visit the Diamond Casino and retrieve Dre's phone copy from the rogue promoter. For this, you can't use the Oppressor Oppressor Mark II or Sparrow. However, you can use the Hakucho drag as well as the Vigilante. I prefer the drag for this one as it's only needed to travel between my agency and Diamond Casino, and there's basically zero shooting to do while you're driving. Once inside the casino, deal with the promoter's security with the weapon of your choice. I tend to run the assault shotgun, the service carbine, the carbine rifle Mark II, or the special carbine, but use whatever you feel comfortable with. When you arrive in the nightclub area, drop the remaining guards, snatch the copy of Dre's phone, and use this route to go back to the garage, and from there, it's a simple drive to your agency. Next, we've got to do the High Society leak, and in the first mission, Franklin will ask you to go to the Pacific Bluffs Country Club, and it isn't really that far away if you have an Oppressor or Sparrow, but guess what? We can make it even faster once again by using the good old SUV fast travel technique. For this, you're going to want to select Chumash, and once there, the location will show up on your GPS. Simply call your Oppressor Mark II, head over to the country club, and do a quick hack to get inside. Then you have to clean out the guards with a shotgun and hack into the PC using a USB stick. The file you want to run is called bruteforce.exe, and it's always going to be the same virus that you use. But at this point, we run into a problem, and that's Imani's incessant yapping. To protect your ears from the torture, take out any explosive of your choice and blow yourself up. This will immediately spawn you outside, and you'll skip the 20 seconds or so that it takes for Imani to stop yapping before the game actually allows you to exit the door and walk outside. Then simply fly to the yellow circle, find the Patriot SUV, shoot the driver. You could also just blow up the SUV, which is going to make things a bit more messy as you run the risk of burning yourself, but whatever approach you take, just kill the driver ASAP and do not follow the SUV. Following it is just a massive waste of time and completely unnecessary here. For the next mission, you'll use a stun gun to incapacitate a lawyer and steal his Anus Super Diamond, which handles like an absolute pig, but you can still complete this mission fairly fast. The finale for the High Society leak, however, is a completely different beast, and this is where a lot of new players end up dying over and over. Either that, or they waste like 20 minutes running around because they don't know how to scare the billionaire. The quickest way to do this mission involves a vigilante, but you should call it in before you enter through the main gate. Then, once inside, you run over to this table so you can get the go-ahead to start shooting, and then all you gotta do is blow the ever-loving crap out of everything and everyone you see. Cars, people, it really doesn't matter. If it's an object and it isn't on fire, you're doing it wrong. Over here, it really helps to have a grenade launcher or RPG handy because blowing up cars will scare the billionaire a lot faster than just killing his goons, and there are two parking spaces, one in the front near the DJ table and another area in the back with a Patriot limo. Blow up every single car in both areas, except for this one here because we're gonna be using that to leave the party. And this little spot right here is actually a very safe space to be, as you don't have to worry about your left or right flanks, and once you've blown up all the cars, just keep killing security guards until the billionaire gets scared. You can see his intimidation level through this meter on the bottom right. Sometimes I even like to go up on the roof if you want a nice above high ground vantage point, but it's really up to you. This is the main important piece though. As soon as he flies away, you realistically have two choices here. The first is my preferred method, and that's if you're fast enough and good at aiming, simply use your railgun or heavy sniper Mark II with explosive rounds and shoot down his helicopter. Another totally viable option here is to use the supercar that we spared to exit the compound. Then you hop into your vigilante and give chase. You'll catch up with a billionaire's helicopter in no time, and with the homing missiles, you'll blow it to smithereens in like 5 seconds. At this point though, the second half of the mission starts, which is definitely the most tedious part here because even though you've dropped the chopper's HP to 0, it has plot armor and won't crash until it reaches a predetermined area. And so the game is actually going to force you to drive around for another 1 to 2 minutes after destroying the helicopter before you get the cutscene. But no one wants to do that, and to be honest, no one needs to. You can skip this entire driving sequence by blowing yourself up. Do it as many times as you need to in order to fail the mission. Then on the mission failed screen, simply select restart from the last checkpoint. What'll happen here is you'll spawn in with your vigilante right next to the billionaire's crashed chopper. See, it's that easy. Now, once you grab his phone and it's in your hand, just hop back onto the highway and drive home. Feel free to shoot some of the bad guys along the way if you want. You're in a Batmobile after all, and it's got lots of missiles and a really fun rocket boost too. For some reason, this is perfectly fine, but an Oppressor or Toreador is just too far. Rockstar logic, I guess, right? Side note here, some players like to try to get into Fort Zancudo and steal one of the laser jets to make it back to their agency fast, but I've noticed it takes about the same amount of time to drive back, especially if you can't make it over the fences on your first or second try. For the third and final leak, we're heading into Davis, and this should take the least time of all 3 leaks, but there's still a way to manage to make things faster. First, when you do the mission where Vernon requests your help to steal some math equipment, just kill all of the enemies, but don't drive away just yet, because the Lost MC spawn exactly 4 waves, and after that, they stop coming. What you should do is kill all 4 waves right where the white van is parked, then get inside. This is when you'll automatically be slapped with a wanted level, but no need to worry. For some reason, Rockstar allows you to use Lester to remove your wanted level, even though this usually isn't the case with scripted missions of this type, so just give him a call, and for $400, he'll get the popos off your trail. Or if you've done the Doomsday Heist, it's $0. And that's it. Mission complete. For the next mission, you'll have to protect some family members from the ballas, and this is more of a survival challenge than anything else. So pull out that combat MG, find some cover behind a dumpster, and start shooting. You can also use the grenade launcher to clear out big waves or approaching vehicles, but as long as you survive till the cops arrive, it's all good here. Alternatively, you can even choose to call on your oppressor Mark II right after you step out of Vernon's SUV and go to town on the poor ballas that way. That works perfectly fine as well. And then for the final mission, you'll want to use either a vigilante or a Hakuchou drag. Again, I prefer the drag as it lets me pull up right alongside the Vagos driver and shoot him in the head, but you can also just tackle him into a corner with your vigilante and take his lowrider. And here's a neat trick I guarantee most of you have never tried before, but it's worth trying every single time. Right after this cutscene with the Vagos member jumping into his lowrider finishes playing, if you quickly turn around with your crosshair, you can actually snipe his head before he makes it to the next street and out of your field of view. Your character will always be taking cover behind this exact dumpster because that's how it's scripted, and that makes it easy for you to practice and spin that gun around, do a 180, and dome him if you're fast and accurate enough. It took me a couple tries to learn and get it down, but once I started doing it successfully, I started to do it every single time without fail. Okay guys, it's time for the 2 finale missions. The first one is studio time, and for this, you don't have to take Dre's Dubachi champion at all. Instead, manually mark this exact location on your GPS. It's where Record A Studios is located, and that location is permanent, so it will work on every playthrough. Then, get inside your vigilante, shoot up all the bad guys with missiles, which should be extremely easy, then head inside and mow down the rest of Johnny's thugs with any gun of your choice. And now that we can skip the dang cutscene, we're automatically saving about 8 minutes of time just from that. For the final mission, I've got 2 speedrunning tricks that you can use. See, we already know where Johnny's gonna be, and he'll always spawn here in the rail yard, but you don't actually have to drive inside. Just shoot him with your vigilante from far away, and it will instantly play the cutscene and spawn you inside the dumpster. Then clear out all the guards and find Johnny at the hangar in LSIA. Now, this is where a lot of deaths happen because the hangar is full of enemies behind every single corner. There's like 50 of them in total, but I've got a skip that will let you grab Johnny guns within 30 seconds, and you just need to kill like 6 guys in total. First, you head inside, clear out everyone in the locker room, then 3 more enemies will try to ambush you as you head into the hangar. Dispatch them ASAP and plant a sticky bomb on this fuel tank right here. Blow it up and you'll be able to climb over it. Sometimes the game physics won't really cooperate with you and you'll get stuck at the top, so whenever that happens, simply jump back down, give it another try from the left side. If you climb from the left, you'll have a much higher chance of making it through this little path right here. Now, congratulations, you've now successfully skipped the entire hangar fight, so just run up these stairs and you'll find Johnny guns waiting for you. Then skip the final cutscene and chauffeur Dre over to the Pacific Bluffs Country Club for your easy $1 million paycheck. If you did everything properly here, you should have completed this entire heist in about an hour or less, and if you don't have an Oppressor Mark II or Sparrow or Vigilante just yet, don't fret too much. That can easily be fixed by layering Dr. Dre and Cayo on top of each other. First, simply do a Cayo Perico heist as it has the longest cooldown, then supplement that with a Dr. Dre contract, and you'll even have time for a quick Cluckin Bell or Oscar Guzman questline playthrough before your next Cayo is ready. That's $2.5 million right there in just a few hours.
The Cluckin Bell farm raid is a favorite among GTA players as it's incredibly easy, it pays $500,000 guaranteed every single time you do it, and absolutely anyone can access this heist within their first hour of GTA Online. First, what you'll need is an HSW upgraded Hakuchou drag bike that's going to be set as your personal vehicle. Then for item number 2, you're going to need a property that's really close to the police station where Vincent gives you the missions. There are multiple options here. You can have either the Little Soul Agency or the Vespucci Canals Agency, both of which are priced at around $2 million. Or you can purchase the Del Perro Heights apartment number 4, which lets you spawn right next to the police station. It's just a couple blocks down the road. If you already have the Little Soul Agency though, use that. There's no point in trading it in for the Vespucci Canals Agency, even though that one is a little bit closer to Vincent's station. Alright, for the very first prep mission, Slush Fund, we're going to set our spawn location to the agency and make sure that our Hakuchou drag is parked on the road in front of us. Then we're going to drive to the police station and start the mission. I like to use this path here to get to location A as it's a bit faster than the default GPS route. Then I just shoot the 2 guys next to the crates and break into the building as fast as possible so I don't get bogged down in an extended firefight. Then what I do is I'll kill these guys and throw a sticky bomb on the wall right behind them, and when the 3rd guy comes in, I can do this. You can also just shoot him, but bombing him is way cooler. Then we need to approach Site B, but instead of taking the main gate through this alley on the side, you can use your grenade launcher to blow up this truck, and that will send all the rats running out of their hidey holes, and you can sneak into the building without having to kill a whole bunch of them. Drop the 2 guys in here, plant another sticky on the wall, and repeat the process we went through in Site A. Then get outside, get back on your bike, and race home to Vincent's lockup to complete the mission. Job done. This one shouldn't take you any more than 5 minutes. Then for breaking and entering, we're going to visit the pier first, because that way we won't have to backtrack from the Terabyte when Vincent asks us to get to the train. If you go to the Terabyte first, you'll end up traveling more distance total, since you'll then have to double back to the pier before you can visit the rail yard. So just go to the pier, grab the laptop, and then the hacking device from the Terabyte. As always, you can follow this path to get to the pier ASAP. Then once you're in the yellow square, simply pull out your compact rifle or AP pistol or whatever you have equipped and fire a few shots into the air. What this is going to do is trigger the NPC flight response, but your target in particular will stand out because he's marked in red on the minimap. Using this trick, we can immediately find out the laptop's location. No more walking around slowly and searching each shop one by one. Just a few shots into the air and the target will reveal himself in no time. Then you'll have to drive to the Terabyte, and it's always going to be in one of these 3 locations that you could see. Next to the salvage yard, near Benny's, or in this parking space that's right next to the recycling plant. In my case, it's spawned next to the salvage yard, and there's a really easy way to deal with the drone waves that keep spawning from the Terabyte's rooftop. Simply pull out your grenade launcher and aim at the very top edge of the roof, and as soon as a new wave spawns, fire a grenade at that edge. This will have enough of a blast radius to actually kill the entire wave of drones with one shot, and you can simply repeat this process until all the waves are dead. Then go inside, grab your hacking device, and follow this exact path that I'm showing, because Vincent keeps yapping for a whole long while before he gives you the GPS coordinates. You don't need to wait on him, and your goal is to enter through these train tracks right here, which will place you right in front of the train engine that you're going to steal. You can choose to dismount and fight the enemies, but I like to pull out my compact grenade launcher once again and blow up the nearby vehicles. If I don't get a key drop, I then go deeper and kill this guy up top and a few more guards who are hiding right near these flatbed trailers. You can also use your vigilante here to clear out the area faster instead of your Hakuchou drag bike, but I personally don't have any trouble with these guards even if I'm on foot, and the drag is slightly faster for the rest of the mission, so overall I feel it's the smarter choice here. But if you just can't stay alive because you take too much damage, then just use the vigilante for these setups. Once you have your key for the train engine though, just step inside and hold down the accelerator. Every time you drive past the junction and drive to a junction, you'll need to use the hacking device to switch the signal lights, otherwise the train's emergency brakes will slow you down until it stops and you'll fail the mission. This part is honestly pretty straightforward once you kind of figure it out, quite literally, because all you have to do is press forward and trigger the hacking device whenever you're in a red circle. Now, once that mission is completed, it's time for prep number 3, which is concealed weapons. And just like with Cayo and the Oscar Guzman Flies Again storyline, in this heist here, we're also going to need unmarked weapons if we want to keep the cartels from sniffing out our secret operation. And Vincent gives you 3 separate GPS coordinates and options here. Location A is the closest one, and it has the Marabunta Grande loadout, which consists of a compact rifle and combat pistol, along with light armor. Location B has a heavy rifle and tactical SMG, along with medium grade armor. And finally, there's location C up at the Sandy Shores airfield, which has an MG and an AP pistol and combat shotgun, along with heavy armor. Obviously, C is the best if you're going for aggressive and want maximum firepower and protection, but honestly, I found out that location A is just way better if you're trying to save time, since it's the closest to you, and you rarely need to shoot anyone if you're doing the finale with stealth, which is also the easiest way to do the finale. And even if you're going aggressive, the Marabunta Grande loadout is more than adequate enough to carry you through, as the compact rifle is surprisingly good in those close quarter situations with its 100 round drum magazine and the tiny profile, which means you can run faster and bring up your sights quicker whenever an enemy pops up in front of you to target you. So yeah, we're going with location A, as speed is of utmost importance in this run. Simply drive up to the neighborhood, park your bike in the middle of these 3 cars, and start shooting. As long as you spam your snacks and armor, you will not die. Trust me there. The weapons will always be behind this fence on this bench right here, and then I usually find the gear in the trunk of the car that's parked the furthest away, so it's the 3rd one right over here. If you don't find it in this car though, just search the other 2, but start with the outermost car and work your way inward. Then simply drive back to the lockup and text Vincent to confirm your loadout. For our getaway vehicle, we're once again going to location A, and for this, we're gonna do some off-roading. Simply drive using the regular GPS path that's given to you right up until you reach this hill, then head straight down while avoiding the trees. and you'll find an old gas station directly on your left. This is where the vehicle is being stored, and you don't have to fight the whole base to secure it. Simply shoot the fuse box on the side of the garage, kill this one enemy, run inside, grab the car, and drive away. Location A always gives you a classy muscle car or the Moonbeam custom minivan. I prefer the van as it's honestly way more controllable on the train tracks, and we're going to use the tracks to speed up our getaway later in the finale. But right now, with this crappy tulip that I got, I'm having a pretty hard time keeping it on the track as it just wants to bounce all over the place. The Marabunta boys have slammed this thing lower than an earthworm's nutsack, so there's absolutely zero travel in the suspension, and if I do so much as sneeze while driving, it will fly off the rails and into a tree. But the good news here is that we don't need it for very long, because I'll show you how to use your personal vehicle, like the Hakucho Drag, in the finale. But before we get there, there's just one more prep mission left, and it's called Disorganized Crime. There are 3 phases to this. First, you find 2 Cluckin Bell vans and hijack them to get the location of the warehouse. In phase 2, you infiltrate the warehouse and try to get out with the key card without blowing your cover. Phase 3, you drive a flatbed truck to Vincent's lockup, and if you're detected, instead of a flatbed truck, you'll get a bunch of cartel thugs on your tail, and it's actually faster than driving the flatbed 2.5 miles to Vincent's lockup. But then the finale also becomes harder than it needs to be, because we'll have to stop every 5 to 10 seconds to shoot someone. If you do get the aggressive approach, or you just want to do it to have fun, you could still do it in roughly the same amount of time as the stealth approach, but I honestly just prefer stealth overall, as it just means less things can go wrong and your environment is more controlled and you have more control over your environment, which is important for speedruns. Anyway, right at the start of Disorganized Crime, when Vincent gives you the locations of the 2 vans, ignore him entirely. Instead, use this path I'm showing right here on screen. It has all 3 warehouses marked on it, and you just have to drive top to bottom. Start with the topmost warehouse, which is going to be right here near the La Mesa flyover, the one that looks like a kidney, and if you don't find it there, you can head straight down towards the industrial area for the second warehouse. And again, if you don't find it there because you're extremely unlucky, then simply take this alleyway through the Frigid facility and head straight for the third and final warehouse. I got lucky and spawned the warehouse right at the top of the map, but even if you get the third spawn, which is the farthest one, it'll still be faster than following the vans. Once you're inside, equip a silence gun, anyone, it doesn't really matter, and pop these 2 guards near the entrance. Then work your way towards the security room. You'll have to kill 3 more guards here and destroy the camera. But once inside, wipe all the CCTV footage, grab the drill, and kill these 2 guards who are patrolling this platform right here. Then what you need to do is go into the second room, which is where you'll find your key card. Kill the 2 guards inside and start drilling. The sound of your drill will attract more guards. You want to kill them and continue on with your work. Just make sure to leave 0 witnesses if you want the stealth approach to track. Once you find that key card though, head outside, sabotage all the trucks, and drive that flatbed back to Vincent's lockup to complete the mission. If you don't get the flatbed, it means you messed up and now you're locked into the aggressive approach, which again might actually be more fun for you depending on how you like to play. I do like playing the aggressive approach, but we're trying to speedrun this, so stealth it is. And even with the lowest tier loadout, you'll have no trouble completing this heist on aggressive mode because the compact rifle is simply very good, and Cluckin Bell is definitely one of the easier like high tier missions and high tier heists, which means you really only deal with 2 to 3 enemies at a time, and they're not A tier enemies either, so you'll have plenty of time to take aim and land headshots. If you're having trouble on controller though, simply switch to the assisted aim full setting rather than partial aim assist, and it will carry you through the rest of the mission because you have full and complete overpowered aimbot. Alright, once you're in the Cluckin Bell warehouse with the stealth approach locked in, you'll have suppressors pre-equipped. Since we have the Marabunta Grande loadout, use the combat pistol to drop these 2 guards, then shoot the fuse box to open the door. Here is where you're going to find a corridor with 6 guards, so take your time and line up your headshots for each one of them since you have a low damage semi-auto, and if you go for the chest, you might trigger the alarm. Take your time, get your headshots, and head into the first storage area. Grab your Coca-Cola, kill these 2 guards who are standing near the conveyor belt, and head into the second storage area now. The remaining Coca-Cola is usually located in the crates that are to the rear of the room, usually on the left and right sides, so check rear left, as well as rear right. Then the central crate. You should now have all of your Coca-Cola, so get out and grab the office keys from this table. Then clear a path forward in silence. Open the door and the game will task you with finding the combination for the office safe. This is really simple. There are 4 computers in total, and you'll know when you have the right one because your hacking device will turn blue when you're a bit too far, and it's going to turn green once you're standing right next to the computer. Red means you need to point somewhere else. Then enter the code, grab the contents of the safe, and head outside. Your getaway car should be nearby, but we don't actually use this to escape. Instead, what you can do is just drive back onto the road and call in your personal vehicle, then use it to get back onto the train tracks. However, I like to stay on the tracks because the game will sometimes give you really weird spawns if you call your vehicle from the road, and one time my Hakucho drag literally disappeared when I got rear-ended by a police cruiser, so yeah, not taking any chances here. I do like to drive out of the warehouse, turn right, and keep driving along these train tracks until I arrive at this log cabin right here. Then I'm able to call in my drag bike from the interaction menu, easy peasy. Once you have your drag bike, simply follow this path that I'm showing. When you arrive at this bridge near the Zancudo River, what you need to do is take a right and you'll land on this road in the Grand Sonora Desert. From here, it's basically the same path that we took to steal our getaway vehicle in the prep mission, but in reverse. Just drive over the hills and you'll definitely lose your 3-star wanted level in no time, then drive back to Vincent's lockup to complete the mission, and you're done. If you did everything right here, this whole heist should be over in 40 to 45 minutes. Maximum time. If you don't have the HSW Hakucho drag, the next best option for budget players is the Batty 801RR, which costs just $15,000. You can also use the Vigilante, which is going to be the safest and most offensive option by far with its homing missiles and bullet resistant windows, but I feel like it's totally unnecessary. KnoWay Out was the new king of tier 2 heists in GTA Online, as it can be done in roughly the same amount of time as Cluckin Bell. It pays you more money with the Elite Challenge, and it has more interesting mission design elements to it. But before we start, here's what you need to do. Grab yourself a really fast bike. It could be a Shitaro, a Nagasaki Shinobi, a Reaver. It doesn't really matter as long as you feel comfortable riding it. Personally, I recommend the HSW Hakucho drag as there's simply no contesting the fact that it's the fastest way to get from point A to point B on the map if you're traveling by land. The Western Power Surge is also a really nice alternative for those of you out there who aren't on next gen for HSW upgrades. It does have a really good top speed of 130 miles an hour, and because it's an electric bike, it accelerates like a bat out of hell. And lastly, if you're on a very tight budget, or maybe even if you're a new player, get yourself the Batty 801RR. It costs just $15,000, but it will completely embarrass most supercars in the game once you bolt on a few engine and transmission upgrades. And if you're not super comfortable riding bikes, if you want some armor and firepower on your side, honestly, there's nothing better than using a Vigilante or even the old faithful armored Kuruma if you're on a budget. However, if you want the fastest possible times, I really recommend a bike, and you'll see why once we get to mission number 2. And for your weapons here, I suggest a mix of an assault rifle, a shotgun, a heavy weapon, and some explosives. You'll also need at least one silence gun. My personal loadout contains a special carbine, an assault shotgun with the drum mag, and I also like to bring my silenced AP pistol along with some sticky bombs, a grenade launcher, and a railgun. Sometimes I'll swap out the special carbine for a service carbine or even carbine rifle Mark II because I like the extra precision that those offer, but that's everything you need for the mission right there. And finally, if you want to drastically cut down on your traveling time, you can also create custom jobs near every payphone to warp around the map, but I really don't bother with all that stuff as I've completed this heist in under 40 minutes even without job warping, and that means you can too. Alright, now with the prep work out of the way, it's time to dive headfirst into the mission setups themselves with our personal vehicle equipped beforehand. And for this mission, negative press, I've got a nice route that you can follow from the payphone to the KnoWay Out depot that will save you a few seconds. When you arrive at the depot, park your bike here like this, equip a suppressed weapon, and take out all the enemies inside. You don't need to be precise because the stealth check in here is very forgiving, and the guards also are practically deaf and blind, but if you alert them, they will spawn in new waves, and that may slow you down, so simply just take them out as well in the order that I'm showing you right now. Okay, now with the guards out of the picture, let's plant a sticky bomb on this KnoWay Out taxi and get into the control pod. Remember, you must plant a sticky bomb beforehand, otherwise you'll end up wasting a lot of time later, and I'm about to explain why very soon. Then head out of the depot and turn right, hold her down at full throttle, and simply follow this path that I'm showing you to get to Little Seoul Park, where there's a ramp and a billboard. Along the way, feel free to complete all the objectives that you need to do, like running over the pedestrians or trashing traffic lights, keeping at high top speed, things of the like. But once you arrive at the skate park, you can do one of two things here. If you have the jump 30 feet in the air objective, use this ramp to complete it easily. If you have the speeding at 50-mile-an-hour objective instead, you probably completed it along the way. So instead, park your taxi next to this billboard, get out of the control pod, and detonate the sticky bomb to destroy the taxi and the billboard simultaneously. Once that's done, you can choose to pull out your grenade launcher, destroy the 3 remaining taxis inside of the depot, and then take your Hakucho drag, which is parked right outside this building, and then methodically destroy the remaining taxis and billboards around the map using your sticky bombs. Ideally, you want to start with the side that's closest to the beach and work your way up, so that way you'll end up at this billboard near the gas station, which is the closest one to Avi's dead drop. If you did everything right, you shouldn't need more than 9 minutes to complete this first mission, which is also the second longest mission in the entire KnoWay Out questline. Then for the second mission, Inside Job, we've got 2 big tips here. First, don't wait for your contact to blow up the taxis. Instead, you want to do this yourself by chucking a few sticky bombs or grenades through the window of the Omnis EGT, then park right next to the stairs so the guy can jump right in and drive over these hills on the left side of the road to lose the cops. Once you're at the secret FIB office, you will have to suffer through this guy's incessant yapping for about a minute straight, but you can actually shut him up a lot quicker by dialing one of your contacts on the phone. Then take out all the enemies with your handy dandy assault shotgun and drive straight to the data center. But before you get inside, it's time for the second tip for this mission. Take out these 3 enemies standing outside, then park your bike over to the left side of the entrance, right next to these support beams behind the big red shipping container. Then go inside, grab your 3 hard drives you need to complete the objective, and when you walk outside, you can safely ignore everything that's going down because of where you parked your bike. You see, there's this little space hidden behind this container over here, and you can actually squeeze yourself through this gap and avoid the whole encounter with the HVY Menacer if you have trouble taking out those enemies. Now, all you have to do is just haul cheeks straight to Avi's dead drop, and voila, you've successfully completed both phases of the second mission in just under 8 minutes right there. Next, we're about to save a whole lot of time in mission number 3, which is both the shortest setup in this questline as well as the most entertaining one in my opinion, and I'll show you how to finish this whole affair in under 5 minutes. First, you take your bike downstairs and park it over here. Then pull out any weapon you want and deal with this initial wave of guards you'll find. But once you get to the escalator near the train, don't run down. Instead, take a fall over this railing right here and hop directly into the train, avoiding the gunfight with the guards who are standing nearby. Now from here, it's as easy as hacking this panel and killing the guards in the next train. Then you take out the remaining guards near this container, you grab one of those power surge bikes and open up your interaction menu so you're ready to chow down on snacks during your big escape. There will be a lot of bad guys along the way, as well as a few roadblocks, but simply follow this route that I'm showing you and you'll be able to escape without firing a single shot. And you shouldn't even take that much damage anyway. But after that, keep heading through the storm drain until you arrive at these train tracks right here. They're the same ones we used for the second mission of the Cluckin Bell farm raid, and then from here you can easily get to Avi's dead drop and finish the third mission. Mission number 4 is trash talking, and this is unfortunately going to be a lot longer than tunnel vision. However, I've got a few more clever skips for you that will completely bypass most of the tedium here. First, grab your garbage truck and head straight to the KnoWay office that's marked on your map. And here's where the magic begins. Instead of disabling the camera by fiddling around with the fuse box, you can directly jump over this fence, knock out this guard right here, and grab the bags in full view of the CCTV. All you have to do to avoid detection is take cover outside of the vision cone for 1 second, and then you're free to run right through the camera's view once again. Repeat this for both bags, then get the heck out of there as fast as you can, and head straight towards the next office before anyone realizes what you're up to. Alternatively, feel free to take out these 2 guards right here, and also this guy right near the entrance, and then head outside with your loot. You are going to raise the alarm, but rest assured, news hasn't traveled to the other office compounds, and it never will if you simply destroy these vehicles pursuing you. Then Avi will tell you that the genuine garbage collectors are on their way to the second depot, and he's going to suggest that you should deal with them before heading there, or else your cover will be blown. Ignore him completely and drive directly to the next location. I'll show you how to get in and out just in time before the actual garbage collectors arrive and your cover is blown. First, you're going to enter the office compound in reverse. This is going to make your escape after a lot faster. Then park right next to these stairs right here, shoot this camera with a suppressed weapon of yours, and jump this fence and drop these 2 guards. Now all you have to do is collect your blue bags and drive away. Job done, easy as pie. And then for the third and final FIB office, park your truck right here, show your pass to the guard at the entrance, and as soon as he unlocks the gate, what you need to do is plant yourself in this corner right here so that you can take him out along with the camera without ever being detected. After that, you need to play this little snake minigame for the door hack, and inside, just follow this route that I'm showing you to grab both documents unnoticed. You'll find that these documents spawn in the same locations with every single playthrough that you do. When you get outside, Avi will tell you that there's a FIB van escaping with some more intel that you need, but don't panic, because even with your slow garbage truck, you can actually chase these guys and put a bullet through the driver's head. From there, all you have to do is head directly to Avi's dead drop and park your truck right here in this spot. New cops will rarely spawn once you park here, and even then you can use this pile of lumber as cover to avoid detection. And that's it. You've now completed the longest mission in this entire heist in just 10 minutes. But we are not done yet here, because for the last mission, you'll need to collect this hacking device and then willingly surrender yourself to the FIB goon squad that's after you. Then, after the most hilarious interrogation scene ever recorded in a GTA game, all you have to do is open this book right here and search for the wire that goes to the image of a lock. Remember that color of the wire, and then use this pen on the table to break open the housing for that door lock. Then simply disconnect the right wire to open your jail cell and karate chop this guy in the neck. Steal his weapon, get to your stash gear over here, and start headshotting every single FIB agent in sight. Remember, you do need 35 total headshots for that elite challenge, so instead of mowing them down randomly, take your time and line up those headshots. This is absolutely crucial if you want to make that $100,000. And don't worry about that 10-minute time limit for the elite challenge. You are not pressed for time. We are going to be well under it by the end of this mission. I do recommend using the rifle that you feel most comfortable with here. So for me, it's either the service carbine or the carbine rifle Mark II, or of course everyone loves the special carbine Mark II. But no matter what, on your way to the helipad, you'll come across another large group of enemies in this room right here. And once again, take your time, line up those headshots to the best of your ability. Most of y'all are probably playing on auto aim anyway, so you lock on center mass and then just flick up for a headshot. But head upstairs, confront the guys near the helicopter, then you'll get this scripted crash landing near this beach, and I suggest taking cover near this rock right here and lining up those headshots. You can use an assault rifle, a sniper, whatever you feel like will get you the most headshots in the least amount of time. Having a railgun or a homing launcher handy could also be recommended for you, so you can easily destroy the Annihilator helicopter. But if you're not sure about your headshot count, you can certainly headshot the pilots in these choppers. That may bring you over the 35 headshot threshold if you're under it still, and I usually just go for the headshots anyway. But once you're done, grab the Sea Shark and head straight towards Avi's final location. Alternatively, if you don't care at all about the elite challenge and you don't want to bother for that extra $100,000, what you can actually do is just ignore all the guards at the beach, commandeer this FIB SUV right here, and drive onto the main road. From there, you tell your mechanic to bring your vigilante and follow this path that I'm showing you. Just stay on the tracks until you arrive at this hill over here on the beach, then angle your vigilante so you're facing it head on, drive towards it, and hit that rocket boost. Then watch as your vigilante flies straight into the ocean and lands right next to Avi's boat. I don't really recommend that. The $100,000 for the elite challenge is worth the trouble that you take to go out of your way to do it, but to each their own.
Cayo Perico remains the #1 way to make over $1 million in under an hour in GTA Online. But first, we need to unlock the Casaca submarine, which will be our base of operations for this entire heist. It has the planning screen, the nav computer, and the moon pool where we're going to store our Sparrow. Now, you can certainly just buy this submarine by spending $2.2 million, and you'll get all your money back in just 2 Cayo runs, but I also highly recommend saving an extra $1.8 million for the Sparrow helicopter as well, since it's the fastest grinding tool in this stage of the game before you get your hands on something like an Oppressor Mark II. Just do a few extra Cluckin Bell farm raids, do some KnoWay Out quest lines, whatever you need to gather up that extra $1.8 million and save it for a Sparrow. You're gonna thank me later. Once you have the cash, it's time to visit Miguel, aka Mini Madrazo, and he can be found in the music locker, which is over here next to the Diamond Casino. After the cutscene ends, all you have to do is open up Warstock on your phone, buy the Casaca submarine, and meet up with your shipmate Pavel. I also recommend going into the pause menu and setting the Casaca as your spawn point, and what this does is allow you to switch into a new session and spawn right inside your Casaca without having to actually travel there, no matter where you are on the map. So set your Casaca as the spawn point and start up the very first mission, which is gather intel. On your first playthrough, you'll watch a cutscene where you fly to Cayo Perico from LSIA along with English Dave and some of his friends. Over at the island, you'll meet the criminal mastermind himself, El Rubio, and you're gonna drive him around for a bit until you get to this giant tent right here where there's a big party going on. Get out, sneak off to the side, and stick close to the right side of this path so you can stay hidden from all the vehicle patrols. Then sneak through this checkpoint while avoiding the cameras and walk all the way through the funny grass fields to this communication tower. where you can hack into Rubio's CCTV feed. The place you want to search for is the basement, and on your very first Cayo run, you're going to get the documents as your loot, but on subsequent runs, this will change to a combination of Cincimito tequila, a ruby necklace, bearer bonds, and the pink diamond. Next, you'll want to scout El Rubio's office room to check if he has any paintings on his wall, and at this stage, you might feel like your job here is done, but we still need to scout all our entry and exfil points. You can find dedicated video guides for this stuff online, and I have a few guides myself, but there are a few points of interest that you absolutely must scout with your phone camera before returning to Los Santos. First is this place right here, the hangar on the airstrip, which contains some secondary loot. Then there's a shed on the other side with some more secondary loot. And you can find a bunch of Manchez dirt bikes all over the island, so use them to travel around faster, but just be careful not to run into any trees or bushes. Once you've scouted the airstrip, head for this place right here. It's the north entry point for your Annihilator stealth helicopter, and right above that we've got the north docks. We won't be using this in our approach, but it's still nice to have for future runs if you want to switch things up. Then head over here to this checkpoint that we've scouted earlier, and this time, since you have a bike, follow the path that I'm showing you to jump over the checkpoint. Simply angle your bike towards this hill, make sure the guard on the tower isn't looking at you, then pin the throttle and you'll fly right over the checkpoint in about a second. Once you land over on the other side, head down here to the main dock. And send a photo to Pavel. Scout the dock as well as the sheds containing your secondary loot, then grab yourself one of these dinghies and head to this part of the island where you can see El Rubio's office building above the cliff walls. Then simply dive underwater. Pavel will tell you about the drainage tunnel, so take a photo of it and get back on your boat. Congratulations, because this is the exact infiltration point that we're going to use to get into Rubio's compound without alerting any of the guards. It is the easiest entry point of them all, and to pull it off, we just need a cutting torch. At this stage, you've already scouted everything that we need for the final approach, so go ahead and open up your pause menu, go to online, and select the new invite-only lobby to teleport right back inside your Kazaka. Now, it's finally time to do our prep missions, and this is where you're really going to see the benefits of purchasing that Sparrow helicopter. First, I like to do approach vehicle, and for this one, we're going to go with the long fin, as it's the easiest and the fastest way to move around the island undetected. Now, you could spend $2.5 million on your personal Phantom Wedge, and it will make this mission a whole lot faster since you can just call in your personal truck right outside the police station and drive away with the boat. But since you're a beginner and this is a beginner's guide, you probably don't have a vehicle cargo warehouse or the Phantom Wedge, so here's what you can do instead. Fly towards the police station in your Sparrow helicopter, and as you get closer, Pavel will text you 2 different GPS coordinates, each containing a truck. The one with 2 trucks on it, I don't actually recommend using that one. Instead, go for the icon on your map with just 1 truck, because that's where you'll find a free Phantom Wedge, and this thing is just so good at tossing traffic and police cars out of your way that it will make your drive back to the safe house a trivial matter. Make sure to pull out a sniper and deal with this heavy machine gunner first, otherwise he's probably going to ruin your day. Then clear out the remaining thugs and drive over to the police station in your pointy nose semi-truck. Once you get there, just pause for a second, pull up your map, and mark this exact location on Elysian Island right here. This will save you from having to sit through Pavel's yapping as you drive out of the station with your truck. Now, you've got 2 options here. Either you run in, kill all the cops, and blow yourself up to remove your wanted level, or you drive in, reverse into the boat, and drive away to the docks where you'll then park right outside this warehouse and blow yourself up to remove your wanted level. Either option works, but I found that just hooking up the truck to the long fin and hauling cheeks to the docks is the faster of the 2 methods, since you skip the entire firefight with the police. And if you do it this way, you can complete the whole vehicle prep start to finish in just 5 minutes. After securing my approach vehicle, I next like to do unmarked weapons with the aggressor loadout, since it has the assault shotgun and it's also really good at taking out the Juggernaut. And for this mission, you simply start it and check the bottom of your screen to see if it says Merryweather. If you see the word Merryweather there, immediately pull up your pause menu and hop into a new invite-only session to reset this mission. And that's because the Merryweather weapons prep, where you chase the Valkyrie around for 15 minutes, is without a shadow of a doubt some of the most god-awful mission design to ever come out of Rockstar's collective minds. So just skip it. And keep skipping it until you get the Penrith building or 707 Vespucci. Then fly your Sparrow to the location, and also remember this: never, ever walk in through the ground level, because that's how you get into an unnecessary gunfight and die. Instead, fly all the way up to the roof, land like this, walk in and shoot this door with a silenced weapon that you have, take out this guard, these 2 guards over here, and lastly this guard behind the desk. What you need to do after that is hack the laptop, grab your guns, and exit back to the roof. Then simply fly back to your Kazaka and you're done. Just like that. No extended gunfights. The whole thing is wrapped up in under 4 minutes. For the equipment prep, we need exactly 3 things here: a fingerprint scanner, a cutting torch, and a key for that safe. If you're doing subsequent runs of Cayo, you'll sometimes get the loot in the display case, and in those cases, you're gonna need the plasma cutter, and I'll explain how to do both. First, head to the casino for your safe key, park your Sparrow right here near the main dock entrance, walk in, find the key card for the penthouse suites, and find the room with the 2 guards in front of it. What you need to do is take both of them out with a silenced gun, and before entering, make sure to check the room number. If it's 518, the head of security will be in the party area right next to this bar over here. If it's in room 505, he'll be in the office room over here, and if it's in room 512, he's going to be chilling out in the bedroom, which is the closest spawn as it's just past this door on the right from where you enter. Then if you get the plasma cutter mission instead, here's how to do it the fastest way. Simply enter the document forgery office, just take 2 steps forward, pull out your cell phone, snap a photo of whatever's in front of you, then walk right back out the door and fly to the location where the plasma cutter is being held. Once you get there, use your Sparrow's homing missiles to make short work of all the bad guys, land, grab the gear, and fly back to your Kazaka once again. Easy as that. And then for the cutting torch mission, you have to visit a construction site. But instead of barging in like a brute, just grab this yellow construction helmet, which is always near the entrance of the job site, and use it to sneak past the guards. This way, you can search for the torch in peace without a bunch of people shooting at you the entire time. And lastly, for the fingerprint scanner. There's really nothing to add here, to be honest. It's a simple go here, take out some enemies, fly back with the equipment kind of job, and it shouldn't take you more than 4 to 5 minutes if you have that Sparrow helicopter. Alright then, with all the prep work wrapped up, it is finally time for the main course, aka the finale for the Cayo Perico heist, and this is where we're about to make the big bucks. Pay very close attention to the route that I'm about to show because it's easily repeatable with a high level of consistency, no matter the loot type, and if you follow this path, you will never get caught and you'll never fail a single fingerprint hack. First, pick the long fin as your approach vehicle, then go with the main docks as your infiltration point, and for the compound entry, we're gonna take the drainage gate, as that's what we scouted earlier in the gather intel mission. Time of day should be daytime for better visibility, and for weapons, you'll obviously have your aggressor loadout you chose. Start the finale with all these options selected, and as soon as the loading cutscene ends, pull a hard left with your long fin by holding down the handbrake button, head for the airstrip by passing in between these rocks right here, and park your boat right next to the beach. Walk in with your gun, which will automatically have a silencer equipped since you're doing a stealthy approach. Take out this camera, these 2 guards, and then lastly, this guard patrolling near the hangar, check the ground level for loot, then take the forklift to check the upper levels. If you can't get a full loot bag in here, simply what you need to do is run across the airstrip and take out this guard who's patrolling the dirt road, climb over the wall, destroy this camera, kill this guard with a headshot, and you'll find the rest of your secondary loot in this shed right here. Take your loot back around the island until you arrive at El Rubio's compound, dive in with a rebreather equipped, and start cutting through those steel gates. Then, once you're inside, follow this path that I'm showing once again. First, climb up these stairs, then what you need to do is hug this wall on your right and run straight across the courtyard, pull a left at these palm trees, then another right near these stairs, and climb up. But before you head into the building, wait for this 1 guard to turn around. Once he's standing there in this little section right there, out of the Juggernaut's line of sight of course, drop him as well. If you take him out before he turns right here, the Juggernaut will spot his dead body and your cover will be broken. So just wait a second for him to go to the side, then take him out. Next, eliminate this guard right here and walk up the stairs until you come across this guy who's heading down from El Rubio's office. Don't shoot him just yet, because if you miss and hit the wall, you'll also alert everyone underneath. So what you need to do instead is walk up close and pistol whip him in the face to knock him out cold. Then open this wall safe for some extra cash and head to the fingerprint scanner. For the fingerprint hack, all you have to do is align the images in each row so they match the top image, and then just scroll right n-1 times, where n is the row number. So for example here, I know this is a little bit confusing, but in the first row, you don't have to scroll at all. For row number 2, you scroll to the right once. For row number 3, you scroll to the right twice, and so on. Do the hack, grab your loot, and head back down the stairs in reverse, but instead of opening the small gate, just jump over this fence and wait for this guard to move away. Then run towards the main gate and hit the exit button. Outside, you're going to find a bike waiting for you, so just eliminate this guard, hop on that bike, and drive down this pathway that I'm showing you here. Until you get to the cliffs. Then simply pop a wheelie and get as much airtime as you can before you drop into the water. As soon as you drop inside, you'll see this triangle of sea mines facing you, and that means that you're on the right path. Just make sure to keep swimming forward until the escape Cayo Perico text disappears from the bottom of your screen, and you'll have completed your very first Cayo in full stealth with the Elite Challenge. And folks, that is all I have for this 2026 solo heist guide. Hopefully you learned something new today, and while I don't have every single speedrunning tip or skip in here, I already have all dedicated speedrun videos for each of these heists, so you can go watch those if you want all the finer details. This is more of a starter guide to tell you everything you need to know to make lots of money with these heists in a reasonable amount of time, of course. And folks, we only have about 3.5 months left until GTA 6 drops, so you might want to grind all the cash you can right now using these heists and buy your favorite vehicles and properties before GTA 5 Online more or less becomes obsolete. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to drop a like on this video if you found it enjoyable and as well as the information entertaining. Consider subscribing to the channel if you are new and you want to stay up to date with more GTA 5 Online content just like this. Check me out over on Twitch, Twitter, and Instagram, specifically twitch.tv/hazardoushdtv. And as always, I'll see you guys in the next GTA 5 Online video. Adios, amigos.